is up, my ninjas? I'm Strydent, and today we are looking at the Funko Legacy Magic the Gathering figures. Between my son and I, we managed to get all of them on clearance, actually, between Borders and Target. Now, this is a really cool line that was plagued with QC issues. I had to get two Nisa Ravane in the background. I had to get, or I'm sorry, Chandra Nilar in the background. I had to get multiples of a couple of them, you know, and return and all this stuff to get them right. But they do some cool things with materials. As you can see, I was just pointing at their tunics. There's different materials all over the place. Soft rubbers, hard rubbers, kind of like, you know, different plastics that actually stand up to the test of time. But the QC issues, since those things weren't properly tested, is what we have problems with. Like on a Johnny Goldmane, I had to redo his cape. This cape is a little bit better, was a lot better because it's more, you know, movable. It moves around. It's forgiving. You can pose him in different ways and it doesn't get in the way. We had issues though with his hand. One of his hands is supposed to be an open hand, but it's kind of in a fist, and because he has claws and it's made of hard plastic, we couldn't get his sword in there because that sword has a nub at the bottom that was not removable, so we just ended up chopping it off so we could put the sword in there. So there were all kinds of weird QC issues that you could tell that it's kind of a fledgling line. And it would have been nice if there were some different things going on so that we could you know, use some of the weapons better and do some more with the figure than what we were able to do. But even with that being said, I really enjoyed the line. I think they did some interesting things as far as the design, and it was kind of a, I want to say a budget line in a sense, because these guys I don't think were 20 bucks when they dropped. I know some places were upselling them, but from what I remember they were like 14, 15 bucks when they came out. In some places they were only 10, and that's why I picked them up initially. And there's a lot of paint detail, a lot of variation, like I said, in materials that makes you think this is not a budget line. But I'm going to get the bad out of the way first. So we're going to start with Jace because he's the one I had the most issues with. Now, since this is a quick review, I'm not going to go into heavy detail, but as you can see, he broke a lot. It was kind of annoying. I mean, it seemed like each one I got, something was wrong. First, I had this arm break. Then the next one I bought, his torso was not fastened or glued properly into the upper torso. So I had issues. And it sucked bad. I had to go in there myself and glue those pieces down so that he could actually, you know, work. And that's what I have now. It actually worked. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, and so I was able to salvage the figure. So what I want to do is I'm going to quickly go over these two characters in more of a presentation overview showcase format, because I shot footage for reviews for them, and then when I was done with them and I was like, those are the only ones I'm going to get, we ended up with the whole entire thing, and I don't really feel like doing reviews for all of them. I think these two are the pretty good examples of what this line, you know, is full of. So I'm just going to show you the figures and talk to you about them. So first up, we have Nisa Ravane. I think that's her name. And I like her her whole look, the whole woodland elf type thing. I dig that a lot. I love the way that they painted the character. And then I also dig, what was her name? Ileana Vess. Those tattoos are freaking dope. They, you know, went the extra mile to give you the idea that she's evil. You know, there's no, like, mistaking it, you know, and maybe in the Magic the Gathering series, she's a good guy. I don't know. But from my, you know, information and from what I see, she fits as a villain. You know, she looks like someone that, you know, in the same vein as Evelyn. Now, Nisa, I like the fact that, you know, they did those simple things with the colors. You know, if you see green, usually that's a earth elemental, and those are usually the good guys, you know. I like that she has the wooden staff that looks like it's made from young wooden branches or whatever, kind of, or vines twined together, or intertwined. God, twined together. Wow. I like the fact that her paint is very simple, but like they put effort and extra paint where it was necessary, like on the wraps on her arms, and I like that. That's a nice touch. Her articulation is pretty nice too. She doesn't have like the full range of motion everywhere due to what she's wearing, but in the arms, they all have the same range of motion, which is pretty awesome. And you can see she can do some cool things with her staff to give you the, you know, the idea that she's shooting, you know, energy blasts of some sort. And maybe when they hit whatever surface they hit, that's how she controls different, you know, if it's an elemental surface, she can control it, you know what I mean? Or maybe vines will sprout up to that area and then she can control them. But it just looks cool, and, you know, if you can, you know, if you want to do actual, like, photoshopped digital dios and such, you can do that, you know, and easily with a character like this. Her face, she has a very generalized, you know, pretty face, and it works. The green eyes, it matches everything else. Like I told you, it's as if they went with the video game method of giving your character a very simple palette and then following that palette all throughout the design. You know, greens on her clothes, accents in her eyes, brown in her hair, brown on her thighs, and even light browns for the tattoos and the wraps on her arms and such. And you see what I'm saying? They don't move too far away from brown and green. Brown is an earth tone, so the tan in her skin, it's still under in the realm of brown. So, you know, there you go. Mix the brown and the green, you get that wrap that's hanging down from her midriff, or from her waist. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. At first, I didn't like the figure. When I got her and I brought her home, I was just looking at the details and I was like, she's so plain. And I remember looking at some of the prototypes and how they were painted. Now, I don't always expect them to be perfect. I just typically expect them to look like what the prototypes show. And, you know, we got it, but we kind of didn't. I know you guys saw how dark those tats were and all the shading in her hair, and that might very well be a 3D model of the actual figure. But I've seen other images of, you know, the prototype of the figure, and they look like that. Matter of fact, they all look very different, at least paint job wise, than what we got in the final. But it's not so different that it's a you know, game changer, or you know, it ends the whole thing for me. I think it's still we still ended up with a very good representation. They could use more paint, but we do have a shitload of paint on there. The thing that I love the most about these figures, though, is the different materials. You see that, those hanging pieces like on her bicep? I love that stuff. Or the cape, the tunic, the piece tied over the front of the tunic. Like, all that shit is nice because it's made out of soft plastic. The collar is also a softer plastic. It's a separate piece that's glued on top of the sculpted torso piece. And I really, really dig that. It's one of those things that I wish we got more with Marvel Legends, and I wish we got it more with other lines, because it would help, you know, it would help. NECA does a really good job doing this too, where they give us different materials. The staff is made out of a fairly pliable material, but it's heavy enough that it's not going to just wilt, you know? Not like Casey Jones's freaking hockey stick from the movie figures. But this piece hanging down, it's extremely malleable. You can move it out the way if you need to. You want to put her up on a horse, you can move that out of the way. You want to make her sit down, it can bend around her feet, or her hips, I mean, which is awesome. You can see how long ago I shot this footage because the cops are still in the background. But it's just beautiful. It's beautiful. They did a really good job. I know a lot of people were extremely hard on this line because of, you know, the various issues with QC. But this was a time where I figured, you know, this is their first time making a line like this. They make pops and they make those, I forgot, the reaction figures, I think that's what they're called. and they don't take much engineering, whereas these guys, there's clearance issues, there's tolerance issues, there's all kinds of things they have to plan for. And, you know, for your first time out, having certain issues and then, you know, being able to overcome them, that's, you know, you kind of expect it. And I didn't have any issues that weren't easily overcome by either returning the figure and getting another one, which I shouldn't have to do, but you always have some kind of QC issue in a mass retail line or mass produced line, especially something that hits retail here in the US. So, you know, that was a small discomfort for a line that's, for the most part, pretty well done, you know. I wish they would go forward. I don't think these things sold very well because I haven't seen anything about another wave. I mean, they showed pictures of what the proposed next wave was going to be, but I have no idea if they're going to do it. So, you know, if anyone knows, keep me posted. Let me know in the comments. And now we're going to talk a little bit about Liliana. I kept saying Iliana. Iliana Vest sounds cooler. But anyway, Liliana Vest. I like Liliana more than Nisa. Nisa's cool and all, but Liliana has a lot of character. I mean, she just, I don't know, it's hard to explain. She just exudes character, and her figure is a lot closer to what her prototype figure looked like. And here's a quick look at that. You can see, like, the only difference is the skin tone. But all the sculpted detail is beautiful. She's got a lot of individual pieces that are like hanging off of her, and she's well painted. I didn't have anything break or anything fall off or anything. I had no issues with her. Like I had told you I don't know if it got in the beginning of this, but I was going to use her as my my Evelyn stand-in until I finally got the Evelyn that I wanted, which was the 2000 and XX Evelyn, you know, the 2012, 2014 Evelyn from that Mike Young Productions cartoon. But you just look at her, you know, you pose her in a very simple gesture, and it's like she's confident, she's evil, she's gonna fuck up whoever you put her up against. I like the armored bits on her legs. I like the dirty, kind of ripped up bottom portion of her tunic piece. I like, or skirt piece. I like the design work on her, you know, her top, and the tattoos are nice. Those are some clean tattoos, you know. And for the most part, the paint is on point with the sculpt because they're actually relief. They're not just, you know, paint. They actually sculpted those lines and then erased the lines and then painted on top of them. That's some serious work, and they pulled that off really well. I mean, you see how close I am to the figure, but she's just a good-looking figure. Very cool. She almost looks like someone that should be fighting Wonder Woman or something. But I really, 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 really dig the way they pulled this off. She just looks powerful. She looks like someone who you wouldn't want to fuck with. And she just looks like there's just way more character to her than some of the other guys. I mean, Jace Beleren looks pretty cool, and he has some character to him. But Ajani Goldmane looks like a lion person, and his clothes look like a noble, and then his face looks like a savage. So it's like, if he's gonna be a savage, you should have had the original look for him. You know what I mean? You shouldn't make him look so noble. Whereas with her, she looks like a necromancer that she's out and about and she's doing things and she's trying to make the world a worse place, and that's her story and she's sticking to it, right? But I'm impressed. She doesn't have googly eyes. The hair looks nice. She just looks pretty official. Now, I don't know what's going on with her tiara at the top. I don't know if something fell out or was supposed to be there. I have no idea. But like I said, she came out really cool. I'm glad that I picked this figure up. I'm glad I have the whole line. They made for some cool figures, you know. They're overall well priced. I'm pretty sure when they came out, they were under 20 bucks. They might have been exactly 20. I just know that by the time I got to them, which was only a couple months after they dropped, they were on clearance. So maybe the majority of them had QC issues, and that's what led to them falling into clearance and then out of existence. But if you see them, I think they are totally worth it, in the sense that, you know, you want denizens to populate your fantasy verse. So if that's what you need, then, you know, these are some good ones to have. I mean, to me, they don't really feel, how do I put this? They feel comparable to the Funko's Game of Thrones figures. The Game of Thrones figures overall feel sturdier in some respects, you know, because they don't have a lot of hangy-downy extra pieces. But that's what they remind me of. They feel like they're in line with that universe. So if you wanted to, I mean, I know Game of Thrones is Game of Thrones, but the build quality and some of the pieces that you see on these figures fit, and it feels like, you know, you can use those characters to supplement your Masters of the Universe, your swords and sorcery, you know, like I'm doing here with these old McFarlane figures. You know, she could fit in with those kind of figures. I think they all could fit in with your whole little RPG world type characters. So this has been my review of the Funko Legacy figures for the Magic the Gathering. This is my story, and I'm sticking to it. They're great figures with a couple problems. If you see them, get them. On to the next one.